Welcome, you're tuned into the deep dive. Today we're really pulling back the velvet rope on something quite fascinating, I think. It's the hidden psychology, behind luxury buyers. And critically, the strategies you actually need to connect with them. We've spent some serious time digging into some compelling sources for this deep dive. We're talking industry reports on brand tone, psychological studies. There's this one really detailed guide, Mind Games, the psychology of luxury buyers and how to win them, plus a structured process for marketing these high-end listings. So, our mission today, pretty clear. We want to uncover those maybe unexpected truths about what really drives high net worth individuals when they buy. It's about getting past just square footage, right? And really trying to square away the psychology. Expect maybe a blend of a strategic briefing and some deep psychological insights. We're exploring how to sell luxury with, well, precision, confidence, and real authenticity.
And what's really interesting digging into all this material is how consistently it emphasizes that luxury real estate. It isn't just about the bricks and mortar, not at all. It's profoundly about understanding those deep, often unspoken desires, aspirations even. The research makes it absolutely clear. Approaching this market, it demands a totally different mindset. You need a highly intentional and sophisticated strategy, something that goes way beyond the traditional sales playbook. It's almost a paradigm shift, really, in how we think about and engage with these kinds of buyers.
Okay, let's unpack that right away because it feels like a really critical shift in thinking. When you first picture a luxury buyer, maybe you imagine someone, hunched over spreadsheets, meticulously calculating every cap rate, every square foot, return on investment. And look, that analytical side might exist for some, sure, but the sources, they reveal something more nuanced, more powerful, actually. They say, quote, luxury buyers are not spreadsheets in suits. They're people, highly successful, often incredibly busy, and crucially, they're often making these emotional, status-driven decisions they then, quite skillfully, wrap in logic.
And that, right there, raises such an important point for anyone in this space. If we just assume logic is the main driver, well, we're going to miss the whole picture. It's a fundamental misread, really. The research had this great example, quite vivid. You might have a property with this, perfect temperature-controlled wine room. Looks like a top-tier feature, right? But if your specific buyer happens to prefer tequila, maybe dreams of a custom cigar lounge, well, that amazing wine room, it means absolutely nothing to them. It just perfectly shows how personal desire always trumps that sort of generic perceived value. It's not about the thing itself, it's about how it resonates with their life.
Exactly. It's less about the tangible asset and so much more about the intangible, the feeling, the experience, the aspiration it fulfills. Like one source put it so well, let's be real, no one's buying your pool. They're buying how that pool makes them feel. Think about that. It's the escape, maybe the family fun, the prestige of hosting parties, or even just the quiet solitude of a morning swim. This isn't just selling houses. It's about carefully, strategically positioning assets to the right buyers, tapping into those deeper emotional currents.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it means the whole sales approach, the marketing. It needs to shift fundamentally away from just listing features. The sources are clear. This isn't guesswork. It's not just hoping for the best. They actually describe it as math, psychology, and negotiation timing. It's calculated, strategic. It's about truly understanding the why behind the purchase, not just telling people about the what of the property. You mentioned cap rate earlier. For anyone listening, that's capitalization rate, often key for investors. But for the luxury home buyer, they might acknowledge it, sure, but their decision, much more likely swayed by how that place fits their vision, their lifestyle, their success.
Okay, so if it's not just about the specs, the number of bathrooms or whatever, this is where it gets really juicy, I think.
Yeah.
Beyond the obvious stuff, the big garage, the fancy kitchen, what are these buyers actually looking for? Our sources. They dive deep into these core psychological desires, explaining that, quote, luxury isn't a price point, it's a presentation. It's about how something feels, how it's curated, how exclusive it is.
Indeed. And these desires, they can be subtle, maybe even subconscious for the buyer sometimes, but they are incredibly powerful because luxury, ultimately, it's a feeling, an experience, a status symbol. The research we looked at consistently breaks it down into 5 critical drivers. These are the things that really motivate. First up, privacy. And this isn't just about, high walls. It's about creating a genuine sanctuary, real peace of mind. Think gated access, deep setbacks from the road, mature landscaping. It's about ensuring you're not seeing your neighbor's dinner party from your shower. Oh, it's that piece of not being overlooked. Freedom. Second, prestige. Now, whether they admit it freely or not, buyers often want to impress. The home becomes a badge of status, a reflection of their success. It's meant to impress friends, family, followers, and maybe, just maybe, themselves too. It's social currency, third driver, convenience, their time. Arguably their most precious asset. So they desire smart systems, turnkey design, seamless living. They're definitely not looking for a project. They want a finished product, polished. The principle is simple. Their time is worth more than yours, so remove all friction. Homes that just work effortlessly. Then there's emotional ROI, return on investment, but in feelings. They want to feel something powerful, dramatic when they walk in. This means sunset views that just stop you in your tracks, soaring ceilings, dramatic entries, architectural wow moments. It's about creating an experience like a boutique hotel, not just a house. Something evocative. And finally, number 5. Exclusivity. They crave what other people can't easily get. This translates to custom details, limited availability, and, this is key, off-market access. Anything that screams you can't just Zillow this. Owning something unique, special, one of a kind.
Wow. So that zero-edge pool with a perfect view, it's not just a pool, is it? It's a statement. Yeah, it hits emotional ROI, prestige, maybe even exclusivity if it's truly unique, all rolled into one feature. It's so clear that understanding these, well, hidden motivations, the real fabric of their desires is absolutely crucial. It's not just shelter, it's housing their dreams, their achievements, and yeah, maybe even, as one source said, the Ferrari, the range, and the ego. Okay, that deep dive into the buyer's mind really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? So building on that, what does it all mean for someone actually trying to sell a luxury property, position it effectively? The research hammers this home. If you want to attract a high-end buyer, you need more than a nice house. You need intention. Real intention in your listing approach. It's not about luck. It's about having a real plan, a proper strategy, not just sticking a sign out front and hoping, right?
Absolutely not. Hope is not a strategy here. This part of the research lays out a very tactical playbook, deliberate steps. And it all starts with something the sources call absolutely critical: strategic buyer profiling. Before you even think about photos or ad copy, you have to identify your ideal buyer. And this isn't vague, it needs to be specific. A detailed persona. Are we targeting, say, relocating execs from New York, international buyers from Dubai, prestige-driven folks seeking unique design, or investors focused on rental yield? Getting that granular profile right dictates everything else: the positioning, the visuals, the outreach. Get it wrong and you're just shouting into the void.
Right. And once you know exactly who you're trying to reach, then it becomes about visual dominance. The research couldn't be clearer. Luxury buyers shop with their eyes first. They're scrolling fast. They're discerning. That first glance is everything. So your visuals, they have to be more than good. They need to be exceptional. First, cinematic marketing. We're not just talking sharp photos here. Think bigger. Think drone footage showing the scale, the privacy, professional voiceovers telling a compelling story, lifestyle shots that evoke aspiration. You're essentially producing a mood, creating an experience, not just, as one source joked, taking photos with a potato. Sell the dream before they even visit. Then there's staging for feeling. This connects right back to those emotional drivers we talked about. We're not selling a dining room. We're selling the Thanksgiving experience. The parties, the intimate moments. The staging needs to feel curated, intentional, not just filled with furniture. Every piece, the art, the accessories. It should whisper the lifestyle of your ideal buyer. Like the source quipped, otherwise leave the beanbag chair and deer antlers. See how that goes. You want them picturing their best life there. And finally, under visuals, these luxury signals. Small touches, but powerful. Unexpected details that reinforce the high-end vibe. Maybe a specific designer coffee table book, chilled champagne. A subtle branded candle, fresh flowers. These things don't sell the home itself, they sell the lifestyle. They're subtle psychological cues. They affirm the property's brand.
Exactly. And complementing that visual dominance, equally vital, is narrative control. This is about consciously choosing your words, shaping the story. You need to, as the sources say, stop talking about bedrooms and start talking about feelings. Every description, every bit of marketing copy needs to subtly tap into those core desires: privacy, prestige, convenience, emotional ROI, exclusivity. This involves finding the angle. Every single property has a unique story, a hook. Even if it's not immediately obvious, your job is to find it and sell the possibility. Acknowledge any imperfections, sure, but frame them. Flaws and all, as they say. Focus on potential, on vision. Next, think about brand alignment. I love this analogy they used. If your home were a watch, is it a Rolex? a Hublot, a Patek Philippe. Each brand signals something different, attracts a different person. The marketing needs to precisely match the brand of the home, its style, its location, its inherent vibe. Consistency is key to attract the right fit. And very importantly, you must control the objection. If there's a potential negative, maybe road noise, a smaller room, say it first, then neutralize it. Give it context or spin it as a benefit. Busy road, maybe that's unparalleled city access. Small room, it's a cozy, intimate study. Don't wait for the buyer to find it and form their own negative story. Own the narrative.
That proactive narrative control is just brilliant. And then, of course, you need to make sure that perfectly crafted message actually reaches the right people. This means multi-channel luxury marketing. You absolutely cannot just rely on the standard MLS listing and hope for the best. That's not enough. It demands a targeted, multi-pronged attack. We're talking sophisticated campaigns on curated luxury platforms, think The Real Deal, Mansion Global, James Edition, places where affluent buyers actually look. Also, digital ad campaigns geofence to affluent zip codes, both domestically and internationally. Now, geofencing, for anyone unfamiliar, is pretty clever. It lets you draw virtual lines around specific wealthy areas, neighborhoods, clubs, office buildings, and show your ads only to people physically in those zones. Incredibly precise. And crucially, it involves direct outreach to a curated luxury buyer Rolodex and tapping into an extensive broker network, as one source put it bluntly. You can't attract a $5 buyer with $500 marketing. Makes sense. This whole approach gives your property presence, real presence, not just passive visibility.
And the final piece of that tactical puzzle, often very effective, is a private access strategy. This really leverages that desire for exclusivity we keep mentioning. For the really top-tier listings, this might mean things like NDA-required previews, weeds out the merely curious, ensures serious intent. It could mean private showings only, strictly vetted, or even keeping it entirely off-market, shown only to a select group investment funds, relocating execs, top buyer agents. This stops a property getting stale online, protects its perceived value, and critically, it feeds that powerful craving for exclusivity. It makes buyers feel they're getting privileged access to something special, not available to just anyone, turns a viewing into an event.
Okay, to really nail all this down, the sources shared a really powerful story, a real-world case study that just brings all this psychology and strategy together perfectly, shows the impact.
Yeah, it's a classic example, really. There was this $2.9 million home, beautiful place, but it had just been sitting, stuck on the market for 121 days with the previous agent. And the core issue, a total marketing mismatch. The first agent was trying to sell it as a nice family home in a gated community. Standard approach, but the house itself, it just screamed baller's compound. I mean, it had a massive 6-car garage, an incredible rooftop deck for parties, even a movie theater with Scarface posters. The original marketing completely missed who would actually want that. It failed to read the brand of the home itself. They were talking to the wrong audience entirely.
Right, and this is where that alignment of psychology and strategy really clicked. They just flipped the script completely, got brand new photos, commissioned a cinematic video, crucially, with the right kind of music, something modern, maybe a bit edgy, definitely not soft and fuzzy. And then they launched this laser-focused campaign targeting high-income single men in their 30s and 40s. Exactly the kind of person who'd appreciate a luxurious compound for entertaining, for showing off their success. They stopped talking features and started talking feelings. The prestige, the fun, the emotional payoff of owning that kind of space. They matched the message to the house's real brand.
And the result, honestly, it was dramatic. The property sold, get this, in 18 days.
13 days after sitting for 4 months.
18 days, at full asking price. The moral of the story, as the source really emphasized, it's crystal clear. Right house, wrong buyer is still a dead deal. They stopped trying to appeal to everyone and started talking directly, specifically to the right one, the buyer who would truly connect with that home's unique character. It just perfectly shows the power of aligning the buyer psychology with an intentional, precise strategy, turns months into weeks. It's all about understanding that why.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? Whether you're selling, maybe thinking of buying at this level, or just fascinated by it all, selling luxury, it's clearly not just listing a property. It's about a deep, profound understanding of those psychological triggers, your ideal buyer's triggers. It requires strategy, precision, and commanding attention. That's the name of the game. And remember that line, luxury doesn't sell itself, it hires the right pro to do it.
What you deserve, what we aim to give you, is that tactical truth, not just the sugarcoating. Exactly. And if you're listening and thinking about how to apply this, how to really decode the psychology of your specific buyer, and then craft a strategy that hits their desires, not just their bank account, well, the sources suggest a pretty direct next step for those ready to act. You can DM the word mindset get a confidential breakdown tailored to how you could position a specific property to spark emotion, spark desire, not hesitation. It's about getting straight to that tactical truth. No fluff.
Great advice. Until next time on the deep dive, we really encourage you. Sell smart. Always try to think like your buyer. And remember this, the truly impactful luxury sales, they're one in the mind. Long before any offer even gets close to the table.